I guess today's kind of the culmination of spring practice, and I guess it would require a little bit of a comment relative to what we've been able to accomplish. I've been really pleased with the progress that we've been able to make as a team. I've been pleased with the attitude that the team has sort of had in terms of doing the kind of things you need to do to develop into a good team. We obviously have areas on the team that we got new players, new opportunities, little bit of lack of experience. So I think most teams probably go through that at this time of the year. We're certainly looking forward to Saturday as a game type situation for our team. I look at the spring game more like an exhibition game. We will play the first offense is going to be on, I forget which team. Is it the Crimson team? First defense is on the white team, so they'll play each other, and the twos are on the same teams, and they'll be playing against each other. So it's a very competitive game. We play for steak and beans, which is big around here. Being the commissioner, I can pretty much go either way, especially when the dinner comes. I know there's some members of the media who are part of the coaching staff who always want access that we give access to, and if they're on the losing team, they never come and eat beans. I don't quite understand. You got to be a part of the team. You got to be a part of the team, and you got to respect the principles and values of the team, which is steak and bean games is part of that. So you got to get with the program. So we're really looking forward to the game. It is an opportunity for our players to get out on the field, play in a game-like situation with a lot of distractions, whether it's what's happening before the game, the crowd during the game, the things that happen while the game goes on are all things that mature players can deal with, stay focused on the task, and be able to compete consistently. And that's what we want to, sort of see where we're at in that regard. From a fan standpoint, one of the things that has contributed to our success around here as much as anything is the great interest that we have, the great crowds that we have for the spring game. It creates a tremendously positive atmosphere for our players. They love to be a part of it. All the recruits and the people that we have visiting here, it just turns out to be a fantastic day, at our university, and I know it's a real positive thing for us, and your fan support is certainly appreciated in this one, and I hope we have another magnificent crowd, for this game. We're really excited about it and looking forward to it. A couple things that are great traditions here that I like to mention. We have a great tradition here at Denny Chimes with our captains. We look forward to being big part of that. Mark Barron, Dante Hightower, and Greg McElroy, who were outstanding captains on our team a year ago. That's certainly a tradition that I always look forward to. D'Amico Ryans. For years, I've always wondered why more players don't show an appreciation for the support, the education that they got, and the development that they got personally, academically, and athletically so they could play at the next level. D'Amico Ryans is one of the finest people that we probably have ever had play at this university, and it's certainly what he did today was in endowing a scholarship, which is really kind of giving back what he got. But to have the compassion, the support, the love of the institution, to be the kind of ambassador that would do something that is so positive for the university, I think is just wonderful, and certainly would be something that I hope some of our other players who do extremely well in the NFL sort of do the same to support, the athletic program and the football program. And we really appreciate what D'Amico did, today, and I think he sets a great example, not only the kind of person he is, but his gesture today was certainly something that is most appreciated. Any questions?
A couple of questions, Coach. First, off the 8A topic, I wanted to ask you about the death of former Alabama coach Homer Smith earlier this week. Did you have occasion to ever build a relationship with him, and if so, could you characterize it for us?
Well, I think Homer is probably was one of the best coaches in terms of very, very intelligent man, knew as much about football and the understanding of football. We actually had a seminar here with Homer when we first came here about 2 minutes, and gave us a lot of great information. We've talked football on many, many occasions. Homer is a great person, good man. I've never met a player who played for him that didn't really sort of look up to him and think that he was someone who had a positive impact on them, which is always something that's a special quality that a good coach has. And Homer was a great person, a great man, and a very, very good coach, and one of the most knowledgeable people I think I've ever met in this game, and is certainly going to be missed, I'm sure, by many in our profession, and I feel like was a good friend.
Secondly, I wanted to ask you about the quarterbacks, McCarron and Sims, both on both rosters. I'm not asking you who's ahead of who, but if you could just tell us what the plans are for those two Saturday.
Well, they're both going to play with the first team. That's the plan.
Coach, a question from the Australian media here. We're quite fascinated in Australia how Jesse Williams turned up here. I'm just wondering if you could tell us how you spotted him, how you see how he's adapting, considering he played rugby early on, and what's his future in American football? How do you think it will play out over the years?
Good. Well, we feel very fortunate to have Jesse Williams here. We thought that we needed some defensive linemen, so we sort of looked throughout the country at junior college players who played that position, and we actually thought Jesse was one of the best players in the country at his position. He had great size. He's a really good person. He's got great character. He's got a really good attitude. It's important to him. He wants to be a good player, and he was very productive. He suffered a little bit last year with an injury, which he's carried here that we've fixed, and he's actually worked his way through this spring. But he's made a tremendous amount of progress in learning what our expectation is for him here in terms of being a productive player in our defense. But we feel very fortunate to have a player Jesse's quality, but he's also a really, really good person, a good student, and I think somebody who's going to be extremely successful, and we're very, very pleased and happy to have him here. And, I like the Australian connection. I'll just be honest with you. Mate.
I guess the first question I have is, will Barrett Jones be playing left tackle for the Crimson team, and Anthony Steen at right guard, or is that not a fair assumption?
Well, I'm really just the commissioner of the game as it is right now. Once we left practice today, they've got, they're out there putting an extra play in, so each team has a trick play that they can use in the game. So I have nothing to do with that. So I'm strictly the commissioner, and I don't know if the commissioner should be making direct comments about where players are going to play and how they're going to be utilized on their particular teams. I'd hate to put pressure on the coaching staff to do what the commissioner said, but he will play some left tackle.
Okay. And then just the opportunities. I mean, what do you want to see from these guys on Saturday? What are you trying to get out of the A-Day?
I want to see them play football. I want to see who can play winning football, who can go out there in the circumstance that they're going to be in, which they have not been in. This team has not been in. They've not been in front of a large crowd, in a stadium, in a game-like circumstance where they have to go out and focus every play like it has a history and life of its own, and compete like a relentless competitor, and give effort, play with toughness, but still have the poise to execute and do their job. So how will they be able to do it? Hopefully, if we have enough guys that can do that, then there'll be good execution, offensively, defensively, and it'll be a very competitive game. And that's the goal for what we want to see. It's sort of wherever we are right now as a team, that's what we're going to find out when we see this game. And so I'm anxious to see how the players compete. I'd like to see them have fun. It's a culmination of spring practice. It's a culmination of the off-season program. And I've been very, very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish this spring. But we'll see how it sort of comes to fruition in the game.
Last one, I hate to hog the microphone. As far as the secondary is concerned, obviously 3 of those guys have been non-contact. How will they participate on Saturday?
Same way they have in the scrimmages. They're all going to play. They'll be non-contact, and they'll just tag off if they get in a contact situation. It may affect something in the game, but I think there's more value to our team and our development of our team. If we had a game, every one of those guys would be able to play. But the reason for the black shirt is why put them at risk for any kind of re-injury at this point. So we're just going to leave them in the black shirt, limit their contact, let them get the experience of playing the game, and I think it'll help their development.
Just a follow-up question on Barrett Jones on at left tackle, just the thought process in trying that move, and also how he's doing there and how Anthony Steen's doing at right guard so far.
Well, we always want to try to play our 5 best players in the offensive line. Now, it has to fit. And Alfred McCullough has done a really good job at left tackle. But Alfred's really a pretty good guard, too. And I would consider Alfred McCullough a starter regardless. This is an experiment. It's not something, a decision that has been made and is etched in stone that this is how we're going to play next year. It's something that we did this week in practice, that we plan to do this week in practice, so we're going to let it happen in the game. So we'll get one evaluation. We didn't scrimmage that way, and we'll see how it goes. You know, when we make these kinds of moves, you know, we do it with the idea that it could help the quality of our offensive line, but we also evaluate whether it really is happening. Is it really better that way? And we have 3 options at left tackle, in my opinion. We'll find out if Barrett Jones can play there. We know what Alfred McCullough can do, and we're developing Aaron Douglas. So we have 3 options. Now, how that's all going to sort out, I'm not in the prediction business. And we've got a summer and 29 practices before we play a game, and a couple games probably to sort it out too and see how we play. But when Anthony Steen played last year, he did a nice job. Alfred did a nice job. But Alfred's really a guard. That's his natural position. He played tackle because we didn't have a third tackle last year, and he was the best player.